How do you find change within the context of relationships and marriage? Is it inevitable, and how does it impact the dynamics of a partnership? Personally, I'll say I feel like you're going to have change in any relationship for a long period of time because, both people are going to be growing. So as both people are growing and evolving, then, you're going to have to also grow the relationship. It's inevitable. I do think it is inevitable for change, unless both of y'all just want to stay at the same area and don't grow. I think that's the only way that would happen, but I think it's kind of inevitable for growth. So, I think, change is just going to be as both people are kind of developing, especially if you're getting married or something like that, or getting in a relationship at a younger age. There's going to be a lot of changes because a lot of times people don't even know who they are when they're getting into relationships. So as they kind of get to learn themselves, and the relationship, I feel like, is going to grow too.
We have our basic things that create our identity and our insecurities and our worries and our fears, right? That's like our X, our Y, our Z. Our three major breakdowns are when we are like in, between ages of 2 and 7 and 8 or whatever. I'm not good enough, right? And then our Y, which happens kind of adolescent time between 7 and like 12, 13. And that's, I'm not, there's something wrong here. I don't fit in, right? Whenever time you become an adult, right? Which would be, there's something wrong here. I'm on my own, right? So these are the three major developmental things of our ego. These are three, we all have them. We all have those situations. Everybody goes through it, whether you're rich or poor. We all go through those same three major breakdowns that form our ego. However, as we grow, we can shift how we deal with those traumas. So, and we should, because we're not taught as kids how to deal with those traumas properly. Most of us anyway. We don't all go to therapy. We don't all do, our parents aren't well versed in psychology or the understanding of stuff like that and identity. So we are supposed to shift or upgrade. And if our partner isn't upgrading, at the same level, it could appear that we grow apart, or people can seem like, they grow apart because they're not ascending in the understanding of how to deal with relationships and themselves at the same rate, right? And wants can develop that are refined by, the outside world. So if one of the partners is, really around a whole bunch of people that are all about money, right? And they might not have been that way in the very beginning, right? Because you guys might have met each other when you're 17, 18, 19 years old, 20, right? Younger. And then the wants change because the world influence changes, right? Then, or morphs or gets stronger, right? The person that says, hey, I know who I am, or I know that myself, this is what I want this type of lifestyle. And the other person, they see other types of lifestyle, they might want to go after that, like, oh, well, I'm tired of just being this way, I want to go after things. And it can seem like they grow apart because of the change. So, the key is, though, to understand, this is for everybody, like hope that has in that space, is regardless of the wants changing or adding, I should say, growing, it doesn't change the love that you have for that person. You just have to now, as your wants upgrade, you have to upgrade your skill level to deal with those wants. It's like you want to upgrade your relationship bill level, like your bills. Right? You want a bigger house? Okay, well, you got to up your income, right? Well, you want more of a job, a higher paying job or something like that. You're going to be off making that money more. So you're going to have to now upgrade your abilities with your relationship to compensate for the amount of time that you're now away from the home, right? So you have to work on that quality time, and you have to work on that communication even more. So everything has to upgrade the more that you upgrade. People just usually, they don't want to do that. They're like, oh, well, I want to get my stuff, you know what I'm saying? And then not upgrade their relationship skills, growing, apart.
Hamilton, you're newly married.
Yes.
So let's hear your thoughts on evolving, changing in a relationship. One thing that we do know for a fact is change is inevitable, right? Yep. So both parties at the beginning of a relationship, you may start at, let's say everybody starts at that base 0, right? Everybody starts at that base 0, y'all first met each other. But then as time grows on, Hamilton, you want to progress and make more money. You want to get into the business aspect of things. And when you met your wife, You weren't necessarily like that. So as you're growing and learning new skills to better your environment, she's not moving. So, and she's not, well, let's say she's not moving, but moving in a direction that you want to go into. So what do you guys think about that? Or you're not moving and she's moving, so vice versa.
From the Christian standpoint, they say that it was like unequally yoked. And so it's like, I see that in one of those situations, it's going to be hard when it comes to trying to grow or trying to even be on the same page on something. If you're trying to go here, but then she's like, oh no, I think I just want to do this. If y'all can't get on the same page, then that's going to really be a huge problem going into the future. Look at it like two oxes and you guys are trying to plow something, but one's trying to go this way and one's trying to go this way. You're trying to plow the field, but you can't because two people are going in two opposite directions. So you got to look at it like that. The relationship can't grow, it can't flourish, it can't really be anything unless both people are trying to actually go in the same direction. It's just going to be conflict. And then once you get to that conflict, that's a conflict that can't be resolved unless y'all are going to actually be on the same page and try to work together, try to understand. That's really the only way that's going to work, the way from what I see.
If you're in a regular relationship with somebody, if it's not marriage, you decide to get married to somebody, you're accepting them for the person they are at that moment. So even if there is no change later in a relationship, you really can't be mad because you knew kind of what you were getting into when you decided to marry the person. So you have to accept that if you decide to marry somebody, you have to accept that, okay, if they don't change, I have to be okay with it. But change is inevitable. So they're going to change. But how will they change? So you mentioned me doing more business and me trying to, I wasn't like that in a relationship originally. Well, yeah, I was.
No, I'm giving a scenario. I'm giving a random scenario. I'm not saying that's how you are.
You were.
Yeah, you gotta accept them for where they were when you married them. But I know a person now where she's upset. I ain't gonna say who it is, but she's upset with her husband, and she thought she could change him.
Good luck.
She thought she could change him.
Good luck.
So now she's mad, now she's talking about divorce and stuff. I tell her, I'm like, you knew who you were dealing with when you got in the marriage. So I don't know why you thought something would change, or I don't know. It's just you gotta be okay with the person you marry if you're gonna marry, if you're gonna take that step.
Yeah, I will say this. Before me and my wife got married, we had a marriage counseling, so to speak. And one of the first things I remember that the pastor had asked us was, if she doesn't change, will you still marry her? And he said the same thing to her, and both our answers were no. If this person doesn't grow, if this person doesn't change, I love this person, but I need to see some of those bad habits change out of that person. The way how I talk, the way I talk, the way I speak, the way I directed things, she's not going to have that for the next 20, 30, 40 years. So no, I don't want to marry. I don't want to bring that into the marriage. So if he doesn't change, then no, that's not what I want to get into. If he doesn't change, no, that's not what I want to get into. You get into a marriage or relationship, long-term relationship, and you want to see that person evolve. Because you can see the potential in that person can see the potential in you, and you both are aspiring to push each other to reach the highest version of yourself, right? And I think that's where, Jalen said, where the oxen goes different ways, because we agreed that there's going to be change for the betterment, the highest version of ourselves. And so we need to be moving in the same direction. I'm not saying, you may not be saying move as fast as me, because obviously people are going to move faster than others, learning curve and all those other things. But you want to see that progression, that you are evolving in this relationship, that you are still not the same person that I met, 25 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, that you are evolving, you are changing, you're actually becoming a better person. that's what you're marrying. You're marrying the potential version of that person, right?
Yeah, that's a mistake. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people have, is not understanding the duality of the best way to choose someone, with integrity, is that you choose to be with the person as they are and as they aren't. Right? If that is your core choice, right? I choose to be with you as you are and as you aren't, right? Then no matter what happens, if that's the foundation is strong. It's a solid base. You can pour all kind of water in it. You can tip that bit to the side, but it's a strong foundation. People be trying to, go into little foundations like this and everything just be falling over to the side. So if you have a solid foundation to pour your love and your commitments and your wants and your things into, then no matter what happens, you can still grow together, even at different rates and different levels and different times and different speeds or whatever, because it's all subjective and it's all relative, right? No two human beings grow or learn at the exact same rate, right? So if the case was, I have to be growing at the same rate as somebody else for the relationship to work, then no two humans would have been able to actually have it work, because we are always at slightly different levels. So the core thing is, you have to choose that person as they are and as they aren't, because they could be this thing right now and then they could also not be. But if that's the thing 5 years later, you're still choosing them as they are and as they aren't, they might have changed something, they might have not changed something, you're still choosing them. The core thing is, I'm committed to you. But people aren't committed to the people, they're committed to the idea of people, and that's why they screw up. What happens when the person don't become that? That's why me and my wife separated. I chose her as she was and as she wasn't. Like, I would not break up with her if she changed, and I would not break up with her if she didn't change, right? So because the foundation was, I'm committed to you, regardless of what you do and what you don't do. My commitment is my commitment, right? But her commitment was, well, I'm committed to this fantasy or this idea of you or this relationship dynamic that is not what we actually agreed to.
I think that's powerful too.
And monogamy is not something that was on the table for me.
Okay. I think that's powerful what you just said, because even though, and you're absolutely right, even if that person doesn't change, when you marry that person as is, you're committed to that as is. And I think that's important when it comes to that commitment aspect of it. You don't give up on that person, right? But you continue to raise the bar. You continue to support them. You continue to try to, and I guess that's the next question is, how do you navigate that? Like, what is a great strategy for navigating your change relationship versus that person's not changing at that moment? Because they're changing, but you may not see the change that you want to see at that given moment. Go ahead, Hammer.
I'm gonna go back with Jalen. I'm just gonna touch on what Jalen said. Unequally yoked. So if you decide to marry somebody that you're unequally yoked with, you're gonna have problems. It's gonna be a struggle, because you both are going two different ways, and you've been going like that since the beginning of the relationship. For whatever reason, you decide not to see it at first, though. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard. That's what's it.
You're mute.
Yeah, let me chime in so we can all get this definition, because I know we're throwing that around. What is that?
Unequally yoked?
Yeah, so I'm just saying, what is it in the sense of, what is the definition that we're going to use right now as far as unevenly yoked? Because we live in America, right? It is a melting pot of different cultures. Matter of fact, I don't think any one, I can hear my echo. Let me mute you guys up. I don't think any one family, even especially Black Americans, island Americans, right? White Americans, they come from all different backgrounds as well. So you automatically, even if you share the same religion, you automatically come into a relationship, in my opinion, unequally yoked in some aspect or another. So go ahead, Collins, take that, and then Jalen take it, and then Hamilton take it.
Yeah, I would let's break down the basic foundation of unequally yoked, or the idea is that one person has an ideology or a thought process or a way of doing certain things that is not in line with or is counter to the way that the other person is. So let's say a person wants a simple life, right? They want to, like for me, I'll use myself as an example. I like a simple life. I want to minimize my bills. I want to maximize my time, my free time. Freedom is more important to me than stuff, right? So now my ex, she is all about stuff. She likes stuff, and so because like satisfaction isn't the core of her drive, it's getting things. It's like a carrot at the end of the stick, right? So I'm like, hey, let's minimize the amount of stuff that we were buying and spending money on, so that we can maximize the amount of time we have, free time we have to just be and to enjoy each other, or just enjoy our lives, even if we're not together physically. Like just enjoying the things that you love to do and just having more of that peace, right? But if that other person is more about growth, like I want to go and do things, I want to get stuff, I want to get things, that was a conflict, right? So in that aspect, we were unequally yoked. And that specific aspect of, should we be trying to hustle, make money, or should we be trying to be frugal and be wise about how we spend our money more? I'm focused on how to spend the money, she's focused on how to make money, right? Now, here's how those things, the illusion of unequally yoked can actually be in the same space where you think it's unequal, is you can still have a core foundation that's quote unquote equally yoked with someone. Like, we both believe in God, right? Like you said, Jamar, like, you could have the same religion, right? So, okay, we both believe in God. So if we both believe in God, what standard can we use to deal with this disagreement? What standard can we use that's just not my opinion on my own as a man, or your opinion as a woman? What standard can we use? Well, if we can go back to the Bible and be like, okay, well, listen, I think this way, you think that way. Let's see what God thinks, right? Let's see what the Bible says, because there's solutions all throughout different texts, so we can understand how to deal with this problem. So it's not just looking at my way versus your way. If you have like the same basic foundation, regardless of you having certain like differences in ideologies, those unequally yoked things can be the tether, right? So the foundation could be, we both from India, right? We both believe in Krishna, you know what I'm saying? We both believe in Ganesh, right? So that foundation can actually still bring you back, even though you guys moved to America and you feel like, she's going into the more Americanized thing and you want to stay at things how they were back home. That tether can yoke you back together, and it can still work in that way, but it'll be difficult if you don't have a similar like a basic foundation of either your religious beliefs, your core wants, as in like in life, like, hey, do you want, what's the goal? What's the main goal of your life? Because some people want kids and some people don't want kids. Like, I don't want kids, all right? But because my foundation is in, I can now know, hey, listen, I married you knowing that you want kids, and you married me knowing that I don't want kids. But what does the Bible say about kids? All right, so I can't deny that from my wife. I can't deny sleeping with her. I can't deny that stuff, right? So then I have to give into that, even though my mind might say I don't want kids. My spirit has to go back to that same basis. So we can always find a way to get back, no matter how different you are. You can find a way to get back, because at the end of the day, we are all born, right? We're all born. We can find that foundation, but if we don't agree on what the purpose of that being born is, then we're not going to be able to walk together. The Bible even says that, like, can two men walk together if they be not agreed? So, but you can find an agreement, though. You can make an agreement. Like, just because you're automatically dispositioned to one idea because of how you were brought up, your culture and your environment, you can actually still find agreement. Look at America. Like, there's a lot of people that agree to live together. We all have different gods. We all have different ideologies. And we agree that we got to follow the same law. And then when you don't and you break it, you suffer the consequences.
All right. Let's go ahead, Jalen. Pop up in here.
All right.
Unmute yourself. I got you. Oh.
All right, cool. Yeah, I agree with what Colin just said, because I feel like, if you can't be on the same page, then what are you really going to do? But I also feel like kind of like what he said, if you don't agree on the same things, or say one person's a Republican, one person's a Democrat, you want to yell at your kids, you want to calmly talk to them and put them in timeout. You want to travel and your wife wants to be a homebody. Like, there are ways to navigate around that. Like, if you want, there's ways to work around it. But overall, if you guys can't agree, if you can't come to an agreement on, hey, I want to spank the kids, I want to have time out with the kids, you're gonna have to figure out a way to have a compromise. If you can't at least have a compromise, then what are you really gonna do? Because you're adamant about this, you're adamant about this. There's no shared common ground together. So if you can't get on a common ground, that's just, you're gonna fight a lot. There's just gonna be a lot of discord because you're not on the same accord. So if you can't get on the same accord together, then the relationship, I feel like, is kind of doomed before it even starts. And we can look at if one person, a Democrat, one's a Republican. Oh, this house we're gonna vote for all Republicans. And oh no, I don't think so. I think I'm gonna vote for all Democrats. And if you can't agree on what y'all are gonna do, the kids are gonna see that growing up too. So that you gotta look at that in the long term. So I feel like overall, unequally yoked is just unshared values. It's just like, you guys don't believe in the same thing, you can't agree on anything, and there's no way for y'all to compromise. Because I feel like, any type of relationship, even if it's a friendship or whatever, if you don't have some type of a compromise with each other, or at least a general understanding, then there's not really anything left for y'all to even do, really. That's just the way I look at it.
That's the bar. Say that again. You said unshared values. That's it right there. Unshared values makes you unevenly yoked. Hammer, what's up? What's up? Everything frugal, you popping in. I'm gonna let you chime in right after Hamilton come in here.
Go ahead, guys. They don't say everything. They don't say everything. Jalen and Collins.
Bo, you got something to add to this? I got you muted, so just raise your hand if you have something to say. All right. I'll bring you in.
Okay. First I wanted to say I agree with you guys. You guys make some very good points. Coming in as a female, I want to say is that we all know that every human, to be human, you evolve. To be stagnant is a choice. You choose to stay in your situation. Some people choose to stay in a situation because they're comfortable, but to me, we evolve. We know that there's far as relationships, I think the problem is that most people choose their spouses or their partners based on their wants and not their needs. So when your relationships start to change, when one starts growing more than the other, you come into conflict because the person that you picked was based on what you wanted and not what you needed. So once you become when you get into the stage where I need this from my partner, I need my partner to play this position, that person can't do that because you didn't pick them to play that role or to be in that position. You picked them to be what you wanted in that moment. And that's all I had to say about that.
Bo, how do you differentiate between what you consider a want and a need?
So I want somebody that'll do whatever I tell them to do, right? What woman don't want that? I want a man that'll I'll say, hey, I want to spend $1,000 on whatever that I really don't need, and him to say, hey, baby, here's $1,000, spending on whatever you need.
Bro, I haven't used that mute button all day. I'm about to just mute your ass, bro.
But no, listen, well, hold on. But what I'm saying is, that's what I would want. But I need a person that is structured. I need a person that can tell me no, when I don't want to hear it. That's what I need. Now, when I look for a partner, I look for I have a strong personality. So most people assume that when I look for a partner, I look for a partner that is docile and that I can control. But actually, I need a strong male figure in relationships because, I can be wishy-washy. You know what I'm saying? I can come in and out with the tie. So I need somebody that when I am like going back and forth with things, like, listen, this is where we at. This is what we need to do. These are the steps we need to take, you know, to get there. You with me or not? You know what I'm saying? That's what I need. Not necessarily what I want. I ain't gonna like it, but that's the kind of person that I need. So I know when I'm looking for a relationship, I look for all the qualities that I really don't want, because those qualities are what really is gonna get me. If I'm in a relationship with this person, this is what's gonna make us prosper, because he has all these qualities that I really need to stabilize a relationship.
I like that.
Yeah, that's dope. I'll add to that. I think that's a level of maturity that people don't even know that they should get to before they even consider getting married. You know, like being able to define and distinguish. Well, I know what I want. You know, I want a bad boy. I want a bad chick. You know what I'm saying? But I know that I need someone that's going to be at home, or I know that I need somebody that's going to listen to me. You know what I'm saying? Because usually the hot girl ain't the one that's going to be a good wife, right? And the bad boy ain't the one that's going to be a good husband. You know, they make a fun boyfriend, they make a fun girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? But as a mom, because what is your wife? Your wife is a mother. What is your husband? Your husband is a father. Ultimately, in your family, that's the roles that you're going to fall into, whether you believe in the Bible or not. Now, the Bible tells you cleave to your wife or your husband as you cleave to your parents. So it's the same dynamics in relationship. So people don't realize the level that you're getting into, quote unquote, bed, into family, into life with that person. And they're taking that role. Like, they're taking that role. And our parents weren't the parents that we wanted, but they were the parents that we needed, whether we liked it or not. Like, we didn't necessarily like it. And if they weren't, that's the level to the much that they weren't is the level of dysfunction that we have in our adult life. Like, we have that same level. Like, some of us I needed to get my butt whooped. I didn't want to get my butt whooped, but I needed that. I needed that because I have too strong of a will and I have too much intelligence, which equals like sociopath, killer, mass murderer, you know, like a drug dealer, kingpin type thing is where my environment would have set me to. It would have set me to that because I would have excelled exceptionally well being a violent person, being a highly intelligent person, you know, like that's a bad combo. So without them whoopings that my mom gave me and that fear from that one whooping that my dad gave me, right? I would have gone further into things that I know I shouldn't have, that wouldn't have been beneficial to myself growing up. I would have joined a gang. I would have started selling, you know, things and made other people sell things for me or whatever. I probably would have been a pimp, right? And so, like, this is, yeah, the mass murder. We got to think about like how most of our youth, like our people, right? Our melanated people, most of them have an intelligence that's above average, right? It takes work to be able to have a successful drug empire. Like, it takes work. Like, you have to be able to figure out all kind of dynamics, right? And these people be successfully avoiding incarceration, you know, like all of them ain't in there. So like when you think about like the level of aptitude you have to have, if they were to take that and put it into good businesses, right? If they were to take that and put it into family community development, because they're developing communities. They have leadership qualities. They're developing their communities. They're just developing them in negative ways. So instead of getting like the Jamara, you shared that brother who the funny salesman, right? He had the same capabilities of leading his bros to a life of crime, and took that same thing and shifted it and led them to a life of business, right? And shifted them out of that space. It's the same brother, the same dude, same intelligence, same capabilities that he was leading gangs with. Now he led businesses with, right? And so that's like the kind of shift that we got to understand that we can make when we're looking at relationships and looking at the core understandings of our values. Like, what do I really want in this relationship, or what do I really need in this relationship, right? And differentiating between those two. You don't want to find that out after you've already made the commitment, right? You don't want to find out, oh, dang, I married a person that I can control. But what I really needed was somebody that would stand up and say, hey, no, let's talk about this. I'm not just going to say yes, dear, yes, dear, yes, dear to everything that you say. But you messed around and married that yes, dear person.
respect.
That's a no-no. That's a no-no, right?
All right. So next question is this. What are some practical communication strategies to foster understanding and empathy during these times? I want to go back to when we were talking about being unevenly yoked, and hopefully that kind of answered this question a little bit, especially if two people are not biblical, or they have different religions, or they have different anything. And I always say this is based on any relationship dynamic, friendships, marriages, anything. You always have to come into any type of relationship. I tell people, a lot of times we get friends and we didn't even make them our friends. We're just friends. Like, yo, when did we become friends? Like, we're just friends. And so when that happens, we have different values and different understandings of what trust is, what loyalty is, right? So I always say, when you have a relationship with anyone, a friend, you need to outline your expectations of what a friend is, right? So if you think a friend is, for me, that's going to help you move your stuff when you need help moving your furniture from one place to another, I'm like, then I'm not your friend. I'm too old to help people move their furniture. I'm not interested in doing it. My muscles are all for show. So do not ask me for money. Don't ask me to move anything for you. Don't ask me for nothing. Right? For real. And the reason being is, it may sound kind of selfish, but you can ask Hamilton, you can ask Collins. I do the same thing. I don't try to put people out of their way, right? Or put them in an inconvenient situation, right? I don't try to inconvenience people because I don't want to be inconvenienced. So every time I make a new friend, I let them know, hey, I'm kind of a jerk. I'm kind of like selfish when it comes to what I want to do with my life. I have a friend say, hey, we need to hang out. Hang out and do what? What are we hanging out doing? I'm not interested in hanging out anymore. I'm 41 years old. I'm not interested in it anymore. I did that in my 20s. I did that in my 30s. I'm not interested in that. Hamilton knows, when he was down here in Fort Lauderdale, what was my thing? If we wanted to go somewhere, like, are we making money? Is there potential to make money? Are we going to meet somebody? Like, what are we doing? I just don't want to hang out to hang out. I need to hang out, and I need to see that going to this place, it's a way that it can lead me to where I want to go with my future. And if you think that is selfish, fine, I'm not your friend. But I'm letting you know from the very beginning of this thing that this is who I am, and that aspect of me is not going to change anytime soon. So if you're meeting somebody, like Jalen said, if you don't have the same values, you need to write down your values, right? I once had a girlfriend that told me that she didn't want her kids going trick-or-treating. And at that time in my life, I was like, my kid's going trick-or-treating, so I know we ain't gonna work. Like, I know we ain't gonna work. But it's not a big deal anymore. But the fact of the matter is, you have to lay down those expectations of what you want in your life and who you are and what you think loyalty is. What do you think trust is? What does breaking trust look like, right? You have friends that would share girls. Do you have friends that don't share girls? Like, seriously. And they're like, oh, bro, you broke up with her. She's free now. While other people think that, nah, man, she's my ex. You can't date my ex. While other people like, yo, talk to her. Right? It's like whatever. That's how Collins was in college. Like, yo, yeah, you can talk to him. Like, bro, no. You know. So that's my thing. Go ahead, guys.
You know what? As a friend, though, here's the thing. The mutual respect has to be there, right? The mutual respect has to be there, because while I would say, hey man, you can go talk to my girl, like, hey, talk to her. Like, matter of fact, you want to put in a good word with her, you know what I'm saying? I know you cool, you know what I'm saying? So I love her, you know what I'm saying? I love you. Hey, I'm put, y'all want something, go ahead, right? We're not together no more. We're not doing nothing. Yet at the same time, vice versa, he doesn't believe that, right? He doesn't want to do that. Like, he's like, no. So guess what? I wouldn't go as a friend in respect. Even though I think it's cool, I'm not gonna go at any of his ex-girls. I'm just not gonna do it. Like, I'm just not gonna do it, because I'm like, well, my it's not my friendship with you is respect based, right? And so because of that respect, now there are certain things that I'm just not going to do, even though he wants me to do it. But when it comes to like certain lines, out of respect, I'll do that. Like, okay, cool. Like, you know, you don't have to get my girl, and I also don't have to get your girl, right? So it's the same thing. I would not choose a relationship with someone that would compromise my relationship with my friend that I had before that person, and that's just my ideology, right? That's just my way of going it, right? If I come to your house and you don't eat pork, then I'm not gonna make you eat pork. But if I come to your house and you don't, and I don't eat cabbage, don't make me eat cabbage. I'm not gonna eat your cabbage. So, and if we look at everything, every romantic relationship from the same aspect that we look at a friendship relationship, then, you know, a non-romantic or platonic relationship, I think our romantic relationships would be more healthy, because we'd respect them a lot more. Like, we respect that romantic partner the same way we respect our best friends, and that usually doesn't go the same way. We usually feel like we can take more from our romantic partner than what we would take from our friends. Like, well, you and your homegirl. Let's use this example for women, right? This is for women, and Bo, maybe you can chime in on this. Your homegirl, you could have a male friend, and you would take him out, and y'all be out. And you see he likes somebody, and you be like, hey, let me help you. I'm gonna hook you up. Let me go and talk to him, right? But you ain't gonna do that for your man when he sees somebody that he likes. Right? Are you as good a friend to your husband as you are to your homie? Right? Like, hey, you know he like her. You know
Okay, so first of all, if I'm in a poly relationship, then yeah, if I see my man like somebody and I'm like, she might fit in with the group, I'm gonna interview her first, because I gotta live with this person. Absolutely. If I'm in a heterosexual relationship, you can look all you want. I'm not gonna stop you from looking. Or monogamous. I'm sorry, a monogamous relationship. You can look all you want to. I mean, we got eyes. You know, a man is not gonna stop looking just because he put a ring on your finger. You know, he's gonna recognize a beautiful woman when he sees one. I'm gonna recognize a beautiful woman when I see one. You know what I'm saying? So him looking is not a problem for me. Touching is a problem for me. You putting yourself in a compromising situation is a problem for me. Me putting myself in a compromising situation when I'm with you should be a problem with you. And if it's not a problem with you, then we don't need to be together, because I believe in check and balances. I'm gonna check and balance you, and you gonna check and balance me. That's equally yoked. We're together. And
that goes back to what I was saying about expectations, because this is a joke, ladies and gentlemen, but I believe that if I'm in Germany, right, my marriage certificate is only valid here in the United States. So if I'm in Germany, listen, I'm no longer married. I'm not married in Germany. If I go to Brazil, I'm not married in Brazil. The marriage certificate is United States, and that's how I feel about that, and that's what I'm going to say. Go ahead, Jaden, take the floor.
You're funny, bro.
No, I want to piggyback off of what she said, because I think when it comes to relationships, a lot of times we will ask of things from other people, like your partner, that you won't do, and it's like, how are you going to expect these things and you're not even doing it? Like, I see a lot of people, they might say, oh, well, I want somebody that's not been with this many people, but you've been with double that. It's like, well, how, it's like, if you're going to ask of these different things of your partner, you got to be on that same, wavelength as well. You can't expect them to be something that you're not even willing to give as well. So I think that's really interesting after what you was just saying there. But there was another question. What was like the main question here that we was asking?
It was the main ways to communicate to get make agreements. Yeah.
Right. So there was something that I had seen from, I don't know if y'all heard of the guy named Jay Shetty. See, he gave like this really dope technique that him and his wife do, and so like when it comes to relationships, sometimes we're so busy, we're doing things, you're working, the kids, and what you got all this stuff going on. So it's like there has to be a time where you're setting aside a time for y'all to communicate and really be on the same page at the same time. So it's like he was saying, while you're in a relationship, you also have to realize that you're an individual person and your spouse is an individual person going on your own growth journeys at the same time, but different levels. So he was saying one way to really get some communication skills down is to talk to each other, meet like maybe if it's like once a week or something like that, or a couple of times a week, or however many times a month, and y'all group up and y'all talk about where what you've been learning, what you've been growing on, like what have you been up to as far as your self growth and your personal growth and all this kind of stuff. And you come together and you kind of like get on the same page. You could talk about a bunch of different things and get together rather than be disconnected. Because a lot of times when it comes to communication, there's a disconnect because you're over here and you're over here. It's like there's two separate, y'all not on the same page, So one thing when coming together and making sure you're on the same page is to actually get equally yoked. Like you can literally talk about what's going on, talk about what struggles you're going through, what struggles that your wife might be going through, and that's going to create like a stronger bond with y'all and help with the communication in general, and really help you with connecting. Because empathy, like how are you going to understand what's going on with your partner if you're not empathetic, if y'all aren't connected, and you can't expect to understand what your partner is going through or what they're dealing with or how they are viewing things in the relationship if you don't understand, if you're not on the same page, and vice versa. So that was just one little technique. He was saying like y'all both have your own journeys together, but y'all can literally get on the same page and like help with connection by talking about these things, and that kind of helps with the growth and the communication. And it's going to evolve over time, because what works right now might not work 2, 3, 4 years later. It can change over time.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, I like that. Bo, got something?
I wanted to add to that. Yeah, I think that relationships, people do like date nights once a week or whatever. But I've always said this for years, and I've told people this, like in your relationship, you need a 6-month checkup. When you first start, somebody is not being who they are, they're going to do that for 6 months. That 7th month, you're going to find out who they are. That mask is coming off. And that's when you need to check, wait a minute, who this? I don't like this. And you should continue that throughout your relationship. Every 6 months, you need to take a vacation, take a weekend or something, and really sit down and talk and say, like you said, you can do it weekly, but people hide stuff. People are uncomfortable about talking about certain things. You know what I'm saying? They got to figure out how can I tell my husband this, or how can I, explain this to my wife, but not in a hurting way or whatever. So you should do, like I said, a 6-month checkup where you get away. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be nowhere fancy. You could be in the same city, whatever, but just somewhere where it's the two of y'all, and you can sit down and, over the past 6 months, you write certain things down about your relationship, about yourself. Sometimes you can bring stuff to your partner that's about you, that you need to work on. You know what I'm saying? I've noticed this about me. And, I tried to fix this myself and I couldn't. So what is, my partner might can help with, might can help. Maybe I can bring that to my partner. So definitely, I believe in a 6-month checkup. And another thing I want to add too is be mindful of what you answer to in the beginning of your relationships, because that plays a big role later down the line, especially for females. He calling you baby, you calling him daddy. 6 months later, when daddy treating you like a baby, now you mad, but that's what you answer to, right? He been daddy for 6 months, and it was okay. So you definitely, be mindful of what you answer, to who you are in the beginning of a relationship, what you expect out of the beginning of a relationship. That leads into them conversations. Have them conversations. Court. Like, actually go out and date and talk and get to know each other. You know what I'm saying? So you can actually see these loopholes in these people, because we all have them. We all in the beginning want to show the best part. You want to hide the bad parts. And then later, certain situation present itself, and oops, this spilled out, this spilled out. Get to know each other. My friends used to laugh at me because I tell them I'll purposely piss a dude off. I would just personally just say something crazy.
You just want to be muted today.
No,
you want to be the one that gets muted. You are. Go ahead, man.
I would like everything would be good, right? The guy would be like this nice, sweet person, whatever. But I ain't seen you mad. You acting like you just nonchalant about everything. Like, I want to know what I'm working with. So I would personally pick a dude off just to see him mad. And then say, okay, no, that's too much. I can't handle that. I ended a lot of relationships like that. I would take a dude and be like, nah, bro. That's tendencies.
But I will say I agree with you on that, because me and Ham talking about this as well, that you don't know a person until you see them through all the stages of emotions. So people always say, oh, I know this person. Have you seen that person mad? Have you seen that person with money? Have you seen that person without money? Have you seen that person cry? Because we think that we know people, and then when he get broke and he acting this way, you say, I didn't know you were like that. No, he's always been like that. Just when you met him, he had money. We're still on the communication strategies. Collins, what you got for me?
So the first thing I would recommend that people do is, when you're writing that list, I want to piggyback off of that list that you said, like, write down your wants, write down your things that are really important to you, write them down. Like, don't just think about them, like, get them down on paper, right? And then I would measure those things that you write down as you come up with your list. I'd measure them against the authenticity test, right? Because we have wants that are from our mind and we have wants that are from our spirit. Some people don't really know the distinction between those two, but it's like one feels good all the time and one doesn't. One is thriving based, living based, and one is survival based, right? And so we don't want to make decisions just based off of survival, because we're not here just to survive, because no matter what happens, we are all going to die at some point in time. So survival isn't the goal, right? Living a full life is the goal. And so we want to write down those things, engage them, like filter them out through what actually is giving you a positive vibration, a positive experience, what's lighting you up, and then what is a compensation or protection mechanism, because you don't want to start demanding or this is the criteria, I want this, I want that. And it's not something that spiritually you want, because you're never going to be able to fool your spirit. You can fool your mind, but you can't fool your spirit. Any place that you're not supposed to be, you're not going to be happy in that place, no matter how much you make your mind try to force it around what you're getting out of the situation. Like when we have jobs that we hate, right? We don't like that job. Like but we rationalize, but I'm making this amount of money, I'm making that amount of money, I'm doing this thing. Look, every time you're there, your spirit is going to be unhappy, uneasy. It's not going to work no matter what you do, right? So that is where we want to gauge those things and refine that list, and then talk to the person from the space of the second aspect is a system of deferment, right? So when you first find out, is it a spiritual want or is it a mental want? Right? Because your mind is going to fool you. It's going to be fear-based. It's going to be it's not beneficial to your relationships, right? And so when we find out this was what actually feels good, does it feel good to have kids, or are you just having kids? That's one of the issues that I had with two women that I was counseling. One of them was my own wife, but another one was an ex that she was with somebody else. And both of these women, I can tell you, they don't actually want children, right? Both of these women actually are just afraid of not having kids and I missed out on something. They don't have a burning desire to actually have children. They don't seek out a way to become a great parent. No, they just don't want to miss out on the opportunity. I'm getting old, I don't want to miss out. That's not the reason to bring a whole life, because you don't want to miss out on something. That's not a reason to bring a child into a space, because, I'm not sure I want it, but I'm not sure I don't want it. So I'm like, you better get sure before you bring a life in, right? And so there are things that can be a full deal breakers in relationships mentally that aren't actually spiritually. We can always work everything out, but if we don't have a system of deferment, and that's the second thing, is a system of deferment. Listen, no matter what we do, we're going to come back together. right? So if you say you want kids, I say I don't want kids. If you say you want a mansion, I say I don't want a mansion. If you say you want to travel, I say I don't want to travel. We can, like Brother Jalen, like you were saying before, you can actually figure some things out if you have a system of deferment. Like no matter what we're going to defer to, we stay together, no matter what happens. All right. So if you want to travel, I don't want to travel. We stay together. Well, what can we do? What are some solutions we can do that no matter what happens, we still stay together? Well, she can go on a trip on herself. He can go on a trip on himself. I don't want to travel alone. I want to travel with a friend. I want to travel with a companion. Well, find you a companion to travel with. This is a solution you can have if your system of deferment goes back to no matter what happens, we stay together. All right. But if you don't have that as a foundational commitment, hey, whatever's great for you, whatever you love, I support that. Whatever's great for me, whatever I love, you support that. If that is the core foundation, we can work together. Anything can work together. You can have an atheist and a devout Israelite can actually work together through that system of deferment, because it's like, listen, I want my kids to have a chance at salvation. You don't even believe in salvation, right? So how can we work together? We're like, okay, well, we don't want the kids going to church. You don't want the kids, being uber religious. Okay, cool. Now we can just sit at home and I can read them the Bible. I'll teach them. I'll find somebody to teach them the words that I don't understand or something like that, so that they can still have that relationship, right? Now they're not gonna be forced to go to no Catholic school, you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna be forced to go to a church, right? But I still want them. Can we do that, right? So even an atheist and a devout religious person can actually have that relationship work out. The Bible even talks about that. And most people will say, oh, well, no, you can't have that because, God don't want you to be with somebody that ain't of your nation. Yes, he said that he don't want you to be with people that are outside of your nation, because obviously it's going to be a conflict because they're going to serve other gods. But it even says that if the person isn't a believer, don't depart from them, because you don't know how later on you might save, the husband might save the wife and the wife might save the husband, right? And so that even in the Bible lets you know that if the person don't even believe, you can still work that out. Y'all can still make it work out, because maybe over time they might see the things they were worried about religion can be something that is a worry of religion, not about God. These are two different things. God and religion are two different things. They're related, but they're not the same thing. Like, a Hyundai and a Honda, they're two different companies. They're both cars,
and
but they're two different companies.
I think Collins is people don't understand what commitment is anymore.
Yes.
And they don't want to be committed, and people like the easy way.
Yes.
I once heard someone say marriage, where did Collins go? Marriage isn't just about you and, let me move it. Marriage isn't just about you and your wife. It's about what you're building, right? It's about the legacy, the empire, whatever you want to call it. It's more about that thing that you're building. And like Colin said, if you can go back to the level of deferment, you have something that you can gravitate to. And I'm saying that so when I go to Belize and I get 2 or 3 other wives and they're in Belize, my wife understands that when I come back to United States, me and her, we're back together. Like ain't nothing changed, ain't nothing changed. Guys, it's 1 hour and 6 minutes. I'm gonna have to break this thing up. But it was a good talk. Our first talk back in a few months. I got my new PC. I know y'all can't see. You kind of see the glass here. It's a monster. This thing is a monster. Anyway, it's working. And now we did have some technical difficulties though. We had some crazy technical difficulties in the beginning. But I'm glad everybody was here. What is that Desiree talking about? I'm glad everybody was able to come on. Hampton, you got anything to say? I didn't get to you.
Everything. Y'all said everything, Just want to keep it G, and keep it G and silent.
All right, okay, he did. He get muted. No, there he go. He wanted it, guys. He wanted to get muted. He got his ass muted. He wanted it. I gave it to him.
And I'm back again. Hey, they got niggas, so I can't unmute myself.
Yeah, they do, right? But guys, I appreciate everybody for chiming in. I appreciate everybody. The viewership was nice today. When this video drop, it's gonna drop like I guess the minute we do it. Just share it. We're gonna work on continuing to build this thing. I look forward every weekend. I want to do this. No excuse. I got the computer now, so everything is up and running. I got to figure this mic thing out though. But again, Online Cookout, we moving. Next time everybody gotta have a food. Everybody gotta have some food at the cookout. Usually my wife come in here with the coffee or something, give me something, but she's still in there cooking. So, somebody said your life is it. Hey, listen, I got 3 other wives and beliefs. They ain't gonna let that happen to me. They ain't gonna let that happen. They not.
Don't worry, relationship guru here. I'm gonna take care of you, C. Ryder. You gonna have a fun time. You know what I'm saying? All the other wives, we're gonna do a proper courtship ritual. So they know that they're gonna be your handmaids. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get you some handmaids.
All right. So before we go, this is what this channel's about. I like to promote other people's platforms. That's why I got people on here that have their own platforms. I want to promote that. So let's start from left to right. Hamilton, go ahead. Tell us what you do with your platforms and blah, 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 blah. Go ahead.
All right. So I am trader/musician/videographer. You can check me out at Facebook, Hamilton Clarington, IG, Hamilton Clarington. I also got a website, www.millennergy.com. Check out the videos. We just did a wedding. We can do music videos. We do corporate videos. We did a secure space in Titusville recently. So, just hit me up, man. We always working over here.
And we definitely put his information. Everybody's information is going to be in the description. Go ahead, Jalen. Listen, I said, I don't know if y'all caught me earlier today before we got live. I think Jalen is the hardest content creator right now because I just feel like he doesn't work. It's like this man does not do anything but put up content. And so go ahead, Jalen, tell us what your platform is and what it's about.
All right. So my name is Jalen Warren. I am a podcaster / aspiring life coach, content creator. I pretty much do a podcast, The Elevated Minds, and on that podcast I talk about finance, health, wealth, mindset, just spirituality, anything that's going to do with growing mentally, physically, spiritually, becoming our best selves. Talk about dating, relationships, a little bit of everything. And you guys can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. You can look up Jalen Warren, JalinWarren, or you can also catch me on IG. That's BlueJ30, BLUUJAY30. And yeah.
All right, we got everything frugal. Bo, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Bomika from Everything Frugal. You can follow me at my blog, everythingfrugal.com. You can also follow me on Facebook. I have Everything Frugal, the Facebook group, and my Facebook page. I will be relaunching my blog in the next couple of days, and I will be launching my YouTube page, Everything Frugal, the Green Urbanista.
That is okay. Collins, let's go. He got banned from TikTok.
I got banned from TikTok. You know what I'm saying? So I do have a new page. I guess y'all can follow that new page, Jack Trades 8, the number 8. And yeah, because the other one got like 16,000 followers or whatever, or I think it's like 18 or something like that now. But yeah, I got 8 on the other one. And I really don't care. I mean, y'all can hit me up there. And Instagram, The Real Collins Peters. That's COLLINSPETERS. And yeah, you just I really don't want to talk to y'all, so I'm just y'all gonna have to catch me here. But I do relationship counseling, about individually, like individual and family counseling. So if you guys want, if you're
this man, I don't know what's up
works at gmail.com.
I'm gonna put all that stuff down below anyway. Yeah. Desiree should know about being banned.
How did you get kicked off of TikTok? How'd you get kicked off?
talk about that like after.
Okay.
Debbie Ray is another one I want to bring on here because she's just so. Listen, I'm going to say it, Des, and I tell my wife this all the time. I see her phone. You're a bully. You're a TikTok bully. And that's it. She's a bully. Every time I look at her post, she's bullying somebody. I'm like, she's a bully.
I like bullies.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. You can. My stuff is going to be down below, but I am the Realtor Hybrid Entrepreneur. I am a realtor and a loan officer. I'm the best of both worlds. I can do both sides of the deal. I am him. But other than that, all that stuff will be down in the description below. You guys have a great night, and I appreciate you for showing up. Peace.
Salud.